Hello, myself Sunil Ramakrishna. Here, basically, we are discussing one other topic that is city creation. City creation, basically, we are discussing one other topic that is India account, basically. So, here, basically, we will watch one video, basically. What actually this is. See, basically.
What is India account? भारत खाते काय आहे?
This was in Marathi, basically.
ભારત ખાતું શું છે?
This is in Gujarati.
എന്താണ് ഇന്ത്യൻ അക്കൗണ്ട്?
This was in Malayalam, basically. This is in Russia, basically.
Что такое индийский счет? Что такое индийский счет?
This is in France.
Qu'est-ce que le compte indien? 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 Qu'est-ce que le compte indien?
This is France. And there is one song, basically, in France also. That also is.
Sans aucun prétexte, je ne peux avoir de réflexe malheureux. Il faut que tu m'expliques un peu mieux comment te dire adieu. Mon cœur de silex, vite te prend feu. Ton cœur de pyrex résiste au feu. Je suis bien perplexe, je ne peux résoudre vos adieux.
So, this is basically songs and what actually India account is. So one of the person told that what actually India account is. So here basically we had in previous video basically one of the Sunil was just telling basically that after 2 days basically the earthquake is going to happen. So one of the satellite person told that why you are basically nothing basically. They told that the 50 creation the 50 country basically when it was created when it is getting processed that time only the magnitude is coming magnitude of earthquake is coming that magnitude of earthquake is getting stopped earthquake of magnitude is coming getting stopped process of 50 country basically is happening in this assume that India country is also basically there because after 2 days basically big earthquake is going to come basically. So for that basically up to what level India has prepared because everything is connects to the investment basically and lots of other factors are also basically there because in India basically is in across the whole world. In Japan India is there, in Dubai India is Indian people basically are there, in America Indian people basically are there, in Europe basically Indian people basically are there, then in France Indian people basically are there, and then in Germany Indian people basically are there, then in Russia Indian people basically are there, and then Poland Indian people basically are there. In Ukraine Indian people basically are there. In Australia Indian people basically are there. So this is connecting to the process basically. So one of the person to the how basically this get processed here basically. How basically this gets processed basically. For example, one person told that this 50 country basically is getting processed, and on the basis of that process basically the magnitude is basically getting calculated. Immediately the magnitude also basically gets calculated and it shift to one area basically, and then basically they decides basically that this magnitude basically is earthquake basically supposed to shift to which country basically. So see basically how dangerous basically the algorithm basically is created. So they basically decides earthquake basically supposed to shift to which country basically. Then the people basically who are the 50 countries basically within that 50 countries, they from the one country basically they selects. I'm talking about big earthquake, basically. I'm talking about big earthquake. So they decides that here basically we can shift the earthquake, big earthquake. So on the basis of what formula basically they decides? Because Indian nationality is everywhere basically. Just now basically in Japan basically earthquake happened. There also 20% population are of India basically. So what process basically is ongoing basically? What is the process basically which is ongoing between the 50 countries that earthquake magnitude gets calculates and that earthquake magnitude basically has shifted to particular country. In particular country, basically the 50 country basically are there. In assume that basically in the 50 country, India country is also there. In this 50 country, basically the India country is also there. So one of the person told that yeah, it's very difficult to actually calculate only basically. So how this everything is calculating basically? One person told that city creation basically happened, then state creation happened, then the country creation happened. So when they creates the city, countries, everything basically, the 50 country basically when it was created, that time only basically the magnitude is from that time the magnitude earthquake basically is getting calculated. Earthquake magnitude is getting calculated basically. Earthquake magnitude is getting calculated and earthquake happens also. They basically calculates the magnitude and the magnitude basically shift to particular area and that magnitude basically of earthquake is shifting to other countries on the base of certain parameters basically what is that parameter that is what basically we are going to discuss then basically because Indian nationality are in Japan also basically 20% population basically are of Indian basically in Japan basically I am basically in India I am in India basically currently if I would be in Singapore or basically Japan then I would be talking about the Japan in Singapore basically. So currently, basically, I'm in India, so that's why basically talking about. India. So in 50 countries, basically, I think that Japan is there, China is there, India is there. Mostly, basically, all Asian country basically are there. European few countries are also basically there because Europe people basically believe in God. That is Sri Ram and Sri Hanumanji. So they also basically came into this. Then basically. You Dubai is there basically because Dubai give business to sorry India basically give business to Dubai so Dubai also basically came into picture. Ajman is there, Sharjah is there. This all basically where Indian nationality are basically there. So this all basically came into picture in the 50 country process. So one of the person told that what actually the process happens here basically. We want to know basically here basically what is basically the 50 countries basically what they are doing the process basically that magnitude of earthquake basically generates basically and that basically is collected by set of countries here basically I have taken one example 35 country basically sorry 35 people basically has created India they have told that basically we have invested basically in India and we decides which people is supposed to get which how much money basically which person is supposed to get how much money which person is supposed to get how much money that we decides basically so that 35 people basically I'm talking. So that 35 people has created India basically. In that basically assume that few people has in this 35 people basically has created Japan also, China also, and Dubai also, Sharjah also, Ajman also. So they have the group of this 50 basically. Assume that these 35 people are connected with this 50 country basically. Here basically the process happens. So they know that basically what is the process basically which is happening in the energy level data. Basically. And then basically the magnitude gets connect. After that, that magnitude of earthquake is shifted to some other country. Their earthquake's magnitude connects basically, but it is getting stopped with the stopping magnitude earthquake energy. And this process basically keeps on ongoing. This process basically keeps on ongoing. This process basically keeps on ongoing. So, who are those 30? That basically 35 people basically we have already discussed. So, on the base of what basically, which parameters they decides that 31st, this 50 country basically this 50 country basically this 50 country basically are doing the process and which type of process basically they are going to do and what will be the output of that process and what is the magnitude of that earthquake basically energy basically which is going to get processed, and what would be that magnitude earthquake, and how the magnitude of earthquake are shifted to the country, how the countries are decided, on the basis of which parameter the countries are decided, and how this 35 people says that basically shift this magnitude of earthquake to that country, and how the stop magnitude basically comes in the earthquake basically which is going to come, and basically sometime basically they say that basically give earthquake. So these all parameters basically we are going to discuss in next video. That is basically I'm recording only.